separate the real from the fake. See, we got to get back to love. If we get back to love, then that's when we gonna get back to us.
It seems like it's never enough. And what do you say when you're...
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of People Empowerment, where we would strive to change the conditions in our community. Today we have a very special guest in the house. Senator Tim Kennedy is here with us, blessed us with his presence today. And we're going to talk about some very important things going on in the city. How you doing?
Good, man.
Tim?
Great to see you.
Nice
Thanks
to see
for
you.
having me today.
Mr. Kennedy, it seems, is becoming a very integral part of Buffalo and what's going on in Buffalo. Just like Buffalo is on the move, Senator Kennedy, you seem to be on the move too. Is that right?
Working hard, man.
You're
We're
in the move, aren't you?
hustling.
That's really something. So, you know, the daytime really flies, so we're going to hit some serious topics. And I want to get right down to business, because a lot of people already know who you are, you know, and now we're going to let them know what you're about. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is the thing that you had with Ms. Stokes.
Yes.
About child abuse and
Yes.
the Child Protection Agency and what's been going on with that. So
Yes.
I know about the two murders that have happened recently of kids and how serious the topic is. So could you tell us a little bit about what that was about? Judy?
Yes. Well, Assemblywoman Crystal Peoples-Stokes and I recently held a public hearing at City Hall, and we heard from folks from all throughout the community. We heard from child advocates. We heard from experts in the field. We heard from parents. We heard from individuals who care about our children in this community, and quite frankly, what we heard was very, very troubling. We challenged Erie County Child Protective Services to do the right thing. We actually called on the state, the Assemblywoman and I, to come into Erie County and basically take over Child Protective Services, because 2 children in Erie County have died in the last year and a half. Ian Brooks most recently, and about a year and a half ago, Abdi Muhammad died in this community at the hands of abusers while these children were in the Child Protective Service system here in Erie County that was set up to indeed protect them. That system failed, and folks need to be held accountable.
Now, you say that system was here to protect them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what does protecting them entail as far as going out to look in on the child and what's going on? Could you tell us?
Yes. So once an individual is put into the system, there is a process that these officers of the Child Protective Service system need to follow.
A protocol that they need to follow.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And they need to make sure, number one, that this child is safe. Mm-hmm. They need to make sure that if there is abuse happening in the immediacy, that child is removed. Mm-hmm. They need to make sure that there is a system set up within the structure of that child's life that is going to make sure that that individual child is safe. There were these 2 instances, and sadly, there have been others that we've found out through this state audit recently where children have been put in immediate danger because individuals at Child Protective Services failed to do the job that they were supposed to be doing to protect these children, the most vulnerable children in society, these kids that are being abused and neglected. And, you know, we have set in motion now, the Assemblywoman and I, a process to which we've taken in information from this testimony of the public hearing. Mm-hmm. We have seen the audit that the state put forward, which was extremely troubling, where about 1/3 of the cases that were audited needed more information, were lacking information, or there were even instances where children were still at risk at their homes.
Wow.
And we are taking all this information, we're putting together comprehensive, robust legislation that's going to ensure that these children moving forward, not just in Erie County, but all across New York State, have a system that works for them to protect them, and that, quite frankly, we, as residents of Erie County and New York State, can trust that this system is working to protect our youth.
But right now, this system is failing.
That's exactly correct.
Horribly.
That's exactly correct, and we're going to fix it.
Now, how long is it going to take this legislation that you guys have created to to actually take effect and
Yeah,
start?
that's a great question. We're actually in the process of formulating it right now, and we would love to hear from your viewers as well. You know,
Okay.
if the viewers have information they'd like to share with us, that they'd like to see legislation crafted on this issue or other issues, they can certainly email me at any time. It's very simple, Kennedy@nysenate.gov.
Very important.
And they can also call anytime. We have an open door policy. We want to hear from folks. We want to hear their ideas and information. And we want to take that information and translate it into positive action. My phone number at my office is 716-826-2683.
One more time.
716-826-2683. And again, my email is Kennedy@nysenate.gov. We definitely want to hear from your viewers. And quite frankly, the best legislation that is ever created starts on the ground floor. It starts from advocacy. It starts from people just saying, hey, you know what? I have an idea, Senator. I have an idea, Assembly Member. I would like to see this idea become legislation. We take that legislation, compile it, research it, review it, and put together legislation that is in favor of the people.
You hear that? You hear that, Buffalo? The senator actually has just put you to task because what he says is if you have ideas to create new legislation that will help in what's going on with this child abuse, then please get in contact with him. You can go to his website. You can certainly go to my website, peopleempowerment.apollomediacenter.com. You can certainly call the phone numbers, but it's very important to get involved so you can come off the sideline to the front line. Stop talking about it and be about it, as they say. Now, very quickly before we leave the topic, we want to talk about JJ's Law.
Yes.
Okay.
JJ's Law is a perfect example of a grassroots advocacy that translated into legislative action down in Albany. There was a family, a little boy named JJ Bolvin, whose own father beat him at 11 days old, broke bones in his body, throughout his body, left him with permanent disabilities. And the worst part about this, was that his father had abused another child, another one of his sons, 4 years earlier. The look-back statute to take into account that first case of abuse was only 3 years, the look-back window. And so they couldn't take into account that first instance of abuse. What JJ's Law did, what we passed into legislation, what was signed into law by the governor this year, was it expanded the look-back window. So if you have an instance of repeat child abuse, they're going to take those past instances into account by way of the court. And what it further does is it ensures that if you're going to abuse a child, if you're going to break bones in a little child, if you're going to abuse and neglect a child, you're going to be punished for that crime. And it was a horrific instance. This little boy is still going through therapy every single day.
May I, not to cut in on you,
Sure.
Senator. Public, I hope you're listening to what the Senator is saying. JJ's Law, a very important law. Listen, child abuse is very different from spankings, okay? Pay attention. If you see child abuse that's going on, you'll know it. It'll be obvious, you know, because it is very obvious. So the thing is that we shouldn't be silent about it because it's our brother doing it or our cousin or even a loved one, because if they're doing it to the child, then, you know, something needs to be done. You got to think about the child. So it's very important, you know, JJ's Law is very important that you and Ms. Stokes are bringing this to the forefront.
Yes.
Incredibly important, Senator.
Absolutely.
And you know, I hope
Absolutely.
something really is done.
Absolutely. Well, so JJ's Law was a demonstration that something not only can be done, but will be done. So we want to hear from folks. We want to see this information before us, and we will absolutely take action on it. And I will tell you, I'm a father of 3 young little children. We have an 8-year-old son, a 5-year-old daughter, and a 2-year-old son. And I'll tell you, to think that anyone would ever lay a finger on them makes me sick to my stomach. And to see these horrific cases of abuse and neglect is just horrific. But we want to do something about it, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Well, yeah, I appreciate talking about it. I know we spent a little bit extra time on it than I wanted to, but it's such a serious topic.
Absolutely.
A serious subject, our kids and our
Yep.
kids being abused.
Yes,
so
it is.
I commend you and Ms. Stokes on what you're doing.
Thank you very much.
For that.
Thank you.
Now I'd like to jump back to what was going to initially be the first topic, which is going to be the progress that's going on in downtown
That's
Buffalo.
right. There is
All right.
a lot of it.
We're going to talk about the progress going on downtown in Buffalo. The president said it. Buffalo's on the move. Mr. Brown said it. It's true. Everybody out there, you're looking, Buffalo is on the move. There's an economic blast that's going on like never been done before. There's an infrastructure renaissance going on in the city that is just incredible. Buffalo has become what people call a boom town.
Yes, it has.
And you know me, Senator Kennedy, as the people's advocate, I'm here to talk about what's in it for the people.
That's
Can you
right.
tell us a little bit about what's in it for the people?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, first let's talk about what's going on. I mean,
Okay.
we talk about what's happening on the waterfront. Hundreds of millions of dollars of economic development happening right before our very eyes, transforming our waterfront,
Oh, yeah.
the front yard of our community, into what we all not only desire, but what we deserve. We waited a long, long time for this.
Certainly.
And then you go up about 2 miles to the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus, and there's hundreds of millions of dollars being invested. You know, we passed legislation, another piece of legislation, UB 2020, that got the ball rolling on what's going on in the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus. You have Kaleida Health, you have Roswell Park, you have the University of Buffalo, all working together. And I'll tell you, it is really transforming the footprint down in that area of our community. And in between there, you have a connection of various economic development dots. You talk about the Delaware Avenue corridor. There's millions of dollars being invested in that area. When you talk about the $225 million investment on Riverbend, which is an old brownfield site where the Republic Steel used to exist.
That's awesome.
I was with the governor just this past week where we talked about Riverbend and the $225 million investment into job creation. There's going to be over 1,000 jobs right off the bat, not even to talk about the spin-off effect. And that's happening right in the city of Buffalo. You know, and then you look at different areas of the city. Every single area has an improvement in prosperity and economic impact. What our job is to ensure that those folks that are either unemployed or have not had opportunities in the past to get employment opportunities, that they actually have a seat at the table. They have first bite at the apple here, and they have a crack at these jobs that are being created. And I'm very excited about those opportunities.
Well, we're going to get to that. You're moving a little fast right there. I see you're very excited. I definitely want to get to the job, especially for the citizens in Buffalo. And we talked about the progress in downtown Buffalo, but it also is shooting off because you're right. You got the Delaware project going up over there, the $300 and so million, $80 million project.
Yep.
You got the old. What was the old hospital, Millard Fillmore Hospital, right there. You got that project that's going up. You know, that's an awesome multi-million-dollar project. You got what's going on over at FWS, the old FWS building. That's being revamped. So there is stuff going on outside of just downtown in Buffalo.
That's right.
And it's having a branch-out effect. And absolutely, again, the word keeps coming to mind, boomtown.
Yeah, that's
because
right.
it's booming. So now let's talk about employment for the citizens
That's right.
of Buffalo and what we
Absolutely.
can do to get some of these citizens in Buffalo employed.
Absolutely. Well, we have to make sure that the businesses that are in existence have an opportunity to get that employment. For minority and women-owned businesses in New York State, we have the highest level of minority and women-owned business enterprising in the history of New York State. We are at the highest levels in the history of the state. That translates into opportunities for folks all throughout the state, and oftentimes folks that have not had those opportunities to go to work. That being said, we are setting up a structure as we speak that is going to create training opportunities for folks that want to go to work. There are actually jobs in existence, and this is based upon President Obama's model. I crafted legislation based upon President Obama's model. We call it the Centers for Workforce Achievement. The governor took the legislation that I had crafted off of Obama's model and put it into his budget. So now what's been created is this system where if you need a job, you have training opportunities to go find a job here in Western New York that actually already exists. There are 1,000 jobs per month in Western New York that go unfilled because there are individuals that don't have the training to get those jobs. The training opportunities that we're setting up is actually going to set those individuals up for the employment opportunities that already exist. It's simply connecting the dots. And again, it's based upon Obama's model, and we're putting it in action right here in New York State.
Okay, now you say you're setting it up. You say you're putting it in action.
That's right.
When exactly will it be set up? Could you give the people out there the communication information where that they can touch bases with you, either through the show or your website, so they can find out more about specifically these training programs for these jobs you're talking about?
Absolutely. Well, right now the process is actually being formulated where the model is set up, whether it's in the healthcare field of employment, whether it's in the clean energy field of employment, the light industrial field of employment, various areas of employment that they're looking to train folks in this community to go to work. The actual infrastructure of the building that's going to house this Workforce Achievement Center is going on right now. So they're actually literally building this multi-million-dollar complex right in the heart of our city that's going to house this training center.
Where at?
Right down at the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus. It's right in the footprint of the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus. It's actually going to play a role along with the Buffalo Employment Training Center, the Employment Opportunity Center. So there's, as you can see, a conglomerate of training facilities that are being put together. And as we've discussed before, this is a momentum building opportunity that we have to put people to work here in this community. Not only are there being jobs created, but on top of that, there's employment and training centers that are being set up parallel to those employment opportunities in order to fit people to these jobs, and we're very excited about that.
Okay, that's very awesome. We're going to take a break, a pause for the cause, if you would, and then we come back, we're going to talk some more with Senator Kennedy about these employment opportunities and get more specific about them, if you would. So we'll be right back. Keep paying attention, pay attention, pay attention.
Very impressive, Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you. Thought he was pretty good.
I think we've got enough color around here. 2 points. And who's next?
You drop this.
Imagine the power of one voice. Find yours at freedomcenter.org.
All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen, from that very important message. Back here with Senator Kennedy. Now, when we took the break, we were talking specifically about some training programs and when they would be started, and you're talking about they're building it up. So again, the people out there watching can just contact your office and
Absolutely.
You can tell them more in depth about what's going on.
Contact my office. We can get you all the information that you need. We can get folks set up actually in the system and really lined up. And there are opportunities that exist out there today. What our job is connecting folks with these opportunities. So absolutely call my office, and we'd love to hear from people.
So they could actually call your office and perhaps be sitting in front of a job opportunity next week sometime.
Unquestionably.
Wow.
Unquestionably.
Okay, now that's awesome, Buffalo, and this is a man who apparently is putting his money where his mouth is. And what I would say to you, citizens of Buffalo, put it to the test.
Yep, that's exactly
The
right.
senator is here saying he's willing to help. His office is willing to help to facilitate finding you some employment. So I would say, if a guy says I can find you a job, all you got to do is reach out and ask for it. If I were you, I would reach out and ask for it.
Oh yeah,
Is
no
that
doubt.
right, Ms. Kennedy?
Absolutely.
Reach out and ask for it. Now, I'd like to share with you, a few weeks ago, maybe about 8 weeks ago, Mr. Kennedy was at a fundraiser with me for Mother Tucker's Church.
Yes.
We had a great time. Mayor Brown came out, had some people come out. We did a fundraiser and we put some money together to get some roof repairs. And she had such a good time and enjoyed everybody coming out there. And she wanted me to ask you personally on TV, so you couldn't get out of it, if you'd be willing to come back maybe next Sunday or the Sunday after and
Of course I
attend
will.
a service.
Of course I will. I'd be honored to be a part of it. Mother Tucker is such an integral role of this community, and any time that I can spend in church praising God with Mother Tucker is time well spent.
Well, I absolutely believe that. I know I just saw you over the weekend at another event over on Durham,
Yep.
and for that association over there, and it was a very religious type event. The spirit was in there. Those gospel songs just had me filled up, that was delivered, and
Yeah.
the Anderson brothers.
Yes.
And they did a great job, and it was good to see you there. I was like, wow, this guy's everywhere. This guy's on the move.
Yeah, well, we're working hard. You
the community.
got to be in the community to hear the people, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're getting after it. We're making sure that if folks have issues, which is my job to take care of, we want to hear them, and we want to make sure that I'm in a place where folks can get a chance to come right up to me, talk to me, and let me hear their issues, and we can follow up with them.
You know, that's what people love. They love to have a person in power that they can actually reach out and touch, they can talk to one-on-one, and they can feel a personal relationship with. So I'm glad you're out there in the community, and it really is impressive.
Yep, thank you. I appreciate that.
Now, one more thing about the community and what's going on. I don't know if I had my producer to put this on or not, but I got to tell you, there's a pastor, Greg Nelson, down at 680 Swan Street.
Love him.
The name of his church is Delaney Warring.
Yep.
And he actually works with
National Action Network.
Right, the National Action Network, and he's very positive energy. What they've created down there, they start having is a Saturday church session. It's called the Power Hour, and they're down there for 1 hour on Saturdays from 6 o'clock to 7. And what they do is they go down there and they just worship. They say, "Come as you are." Anybody from the young, the old, from 8 to 80.
Yep.
They want to see them there, and they just want to come, and people come together in fellowship for 1 hour. This is for the people who can't make it to church on Sundays, just don't want to get up or whatever. You know what I mean? For people that just got to have their football, and you don't touch me, don't bother me, whatever. But there are still people that want to get their religion. They want to get their spirituality on. And so what it is Pastor Nelson would invite everybody in the listening ear in the area, no matter what church you go to, what denomination you are. It's just about people from all denominations and fellowships coming together, the fellowship on Sunday for 1 hour, Power Hour, 1 hour of power with the Lord.
That's
Mr.
right.
Kennedy.
Yep.
How you feel about that?
Well, I love it. And you know, Pastor Nelson is an unbelievable individual. I mean, he is a phenom of sorts, and we're very, very blessed to have him in this community. You know, Pastor Nelson, as head of the National Action Network here in Buffalo and the Niagara region here, is really on the front lines of helping people in this community to get back on their feet. You know,
And that's Al Sharpton's network, in case you guys don't know.
Oh yeah. And you know what? He's, you know, Pastor Nelson, when we were over at Mother Tucker's church, who was there with us?
Pastor Nelson
was there
Yep,
with us. You
right
know?
there.
So you want to talk about a person that's on the ground, that cares about this community to the extent where, you know, he wants to open up his own church, his own community to folks on a Saturday, giving his own time and his own commitment to help people find the Lord. I think it's a tremendous opportunity that Pastor Nelson has given to people, and I'm looking forward to joining him.
Absolutely. And also the show is broadcast on the radio. I believe it's on WUFO or either WBOK. I believe it's on WUFO for that hour. And the couple of times that I have been there, the service was just awesome. Just the feeling is in there. All these people, musicians coming together from different churches, from different organizations to praise, the worship. Oof, I like that. Ooh, gets me going really hot. So now I'm gonna get back to this, but you know, I just love the Lord, so I like that. Now I'd like to talk briefly about the Buffalo schools and the boost in funding you were talking about. So could you talk about that?
Sure. Just this past year, we were able to secure in the budget this year alone another $15 million for the Buffalo City schools.
And who do you say we? Who is we?
Well, I give credit to the folks from this community, especially Crystal Peoples-Stokes. And, you know, she and I work very closely together. And when you talk about issues that are important to the city of Buffalo, down in Albany, she and I are on the same page all the time, because I don't think we have a stronger advocate than Assemblywoman Stokes down in Albany out of this community. And she and I are working very closely together. You know, this is an opportunity for us to deliver to the Buffalo schools the funding that for so many years those resources didn't exist. And so $15 million this year, but that's actually on top of tens of millions of dollars over the course of the last couple of years. So in the last 3 years, we've gotten over $51 million more in funding for the Buffalo City schools than in the previous year. So, you know, we're excited about what we're doing for funding. We're changing the course of the conversation from a lack of resources to now we have the resources, and what do we do with them? So we're excited about that.
Now, you know, after school programs work hand in hand with the school, right? You know, some of these after school facilities and whatever. Now, do you have any role that plays in facilitating being able to open up these centers or put programs together to get these centers open for the kids?
Yeah, so what we're trying to do right now is we're
Briefly.
trying to engage kids as much as we can to make sure that they have opportunities when they're outside of school, when they're not home, they have opportunities in the community where they're not hanging on the street corners and doing things that they shouldn't be doing, right? So the more we can engage the youth in this community into things that are positive for them, the better off they're going to be in the long run, and the better off our community is going to be in the long run. So we're very focused on ensuring that they have resources available to them as well.
So anything that myself and associate organizations that I know of can do to put together these things for the kids, will you come and will you be a part of it?
Of course. Any way that I can be helpful to ensuring that our kids get out of the gate running and aren't left behind, I mean, I'm all for it.
That's awesome. And actually, I'm absolutely going to hold you to that. believe
Please
me,
do.
you know.
Please do.
Absolutely, because it's about the kids. Now, quickly, I wanted to touch this right quick. I know we only got a couple minutes left. Running While Black in Tonawanda. Now, are you familiar with that? This is Robert Harris, and he runs the group
I've
for
heard,
the kids.
yes.
And he's a very active in the community, going out to the jails, talking to the kids. And now, what do you think about this type of stuff that's going on in our community, this Running While Black?
Well, look, there's no place for it. I mean, the fact of the matter is, you know, we've come a long way as a community, as a state, and as a nation, but we got a long way to go. And, you know, while things have definitely changed for the better, there are a lot of work that our community needs to do. And I think the more that we can work together on the front lines to change the conversation about being more accepting of various cultures, no matter who it may be, the better off we're all going to be. You know, this is the United States, this is New York State, and this is Buffalo and Western New York. And we need to be respectful of each other, no matter where we're from, no matter what we look like, no matter what our background is.
That's it. That's it. We should all be able to get along and work together. You
No
know?
question.
So I mean, we need to really get past this. But you know, it's everybody. It takes everybody. It takes the whole village to put aside these notions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because the person's of a certain skin color, if you see them running, you should stop them. If you see them walking, you don't normally see them in the area, you should stop them. So hopefully in the future we can really do something about that, you know, and we can all become one, especially in Buffalo. Instead of us being black and white or Puerto Rican, Hispanic, we can all be Buffalonians.
That's exactly right.
And so that would be an awesome thing.
That's exactly
you know?
right.
I'll tell you, we got the last couple of minutes here. Last 2 minutes, I'll let you take one, and then I'll take the last one.
Sure.
So why don't you talk right into your camera
Sure.
to the people out there. Tell them what you want them to know.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you for having me on the show here today. You know, I've been working very, very hard over the course of the last 3 years to represent Buffalo and Western New York in the New York State Senate. I'm actually the only Democrat in the State Senate from Buffalo and from Erie County. The next closest Democrat is in Rochester. So, you know, we are fighting an uphill battle as Democrats. We're fighting an uphill battle as Western New Yorkers when it comes to making sure that we are on the front lines of the mindset of the folks in Albany when these decisions are made. We have a great partner in Governor Cuomo, who I'm working very, very close with to deliver results for Buffalo and Western New York. We have great partners in Mayor Byron Brown and Assemblywoman Crystal Peoples-Stokes and others who have really blazed the trail to make sure that Buffalo and Western New York is a priority. And we're going to continue to deliver results for the people of Western New York.
Got to cut it on you, Senator.
Making sure that education is funded and fighting crime.
I got to cut it on you, Senator. This is the last 50 seconds.
It is your show.
So I just got to tell everybody, I'm glad you tuned in today. Very important show. The Senator will be coming back to update us. We're going to try to get him in here once a month. Until then, this is Nate Boyd from People Empowerment telling you, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention.
Thanks, man.
All right. All right.